It looks like an ordinary chair, just a simple wooden seat, the kind you'd see in any old pub. But if you sit in it, you may not live to tell the tale. Over 60 people have died after daring to sit in this chair. Some met gruesome accidents, others suffered sudden illnesses, and for centuries, its curse was linked to a notorious criminal, Thomas Busby. But what if I told you the chair itself may be a lie? This is the true, eerie, and controversial story of the Busby Stoop chair. The legend of the death chair begins in 1702 with a brutal murder. But contrary to popular belief, Thomas Busby did not kill his father-in-law over a chair. The real reason was far more sinister. Thomas Busby was a career criminal, not a common thief, but a man deeply involved in forgery and counterfeiting. Alongside his father-in-law, Daniel Orty, he ran an illegal coin-clipping operation, shaving the edges off real coins to make counterfeit money. One night, the two men got into a heated argument, not over a chair, but over their illegal business. Some believe Orty wanted to cut Busby out of the operation. Others say Busby's violent temper simply took over. What we do know for certain is this: Busby beat Orty to death at his home, then tried to cover up the crime. But the authorities quickly caught up with him, and there was no escaping justice. Busby was not a criminal mastermind. After committing murder, he didn't run. Instead, he did what he always did. He went to the local tavern and got drunk. It was inside that very pub that authorities found him, slumped over his favourite seat, completely intoxicated. Right then and there, Busby was arrested, dragged out in chains, and sentenced to death. His punishment? To be hanged, then his body dipped in tar and displayed in a gibbet as a warning to others. And this is where the legend begins. Because according to local stories, as Busby was led away, he placed a dying curse on the chair he had been sitting in, vowing that anyone who sat in it would soon meet their end. The curse might have faded into obscurity if it weren't for what happened next. Over the years, people who sat in the chair began to die under bizarre and tragic circumstances. During World War II, the pub became a popular drinking spot for airmen from a nearby base. Many sat in the chair for a laugh before heading off to battle, only to never return. In the 1970s, a builder sat in the chair during lunch and died the same day after falling from a roof. A delivery driver took a rest in the chair. Hours later, he crashed his truck and died on impact. A cleaning lady who accidentally sat in the chair while mopping the floor died shortly after of a brain tumour. Over the decades, more and more deaths piled up. The curse was no longer just a legend, it had real victims. By the 1970s, the pub owner had seen enough. Too many people had died after sitting in the chair. Some believe he removed it out of guilt, others say it was to protect his customers from an unexplainable force. The chair was donated to the Thirsk Museum, where it still remains today. But the staff weren't taking any chances. They hung the chair from the ceiling, making sure no one could ever sit in it again. Even today, visitors claim they feel uneasy near it. Some refuse to even go near the exhibit, but here's where things get really interesting. For centuries, people believed the chair was the very same one Busby had cursed, but in recent years, a startling discovery has cast doubt on the entire story. Experts examined the chair and determined that it was made in the early 19th century, at least 138 years after Busby's execution. That means the so-called death chair could not have been the chair Busby cursed. So, how do we explain the deaths? Were they just coincidence? Was it all psychological? victims unknowingly fulfilling the curse through fear? Or is there another darker force at play? While some believe the curse is just superstition, others argue that curses aren't tied to objects, but places. Could it be that the land itself, where Busby was arrested and cursed his fate, holds the real power? So, what do you think? If the chair wasn't the real one, why did so many people still die after sitting in it? Was it all coincidence? Or is there something we still don't understand? Let me know in the comments. And if you love mysterious, spine-chilling stories, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Darklight Archives, where the darkest secrets come to light.